We win! Oops.
What is that? What is that sound? You know what that sound is. Yeah, you do. Don't pretend you don't. It's Wednesday. I'm going to be doing that thing at weekly daily Wednesdays. And it's just that time, right on time, somewhere between 3 and whenever I remember to click the button after 3. Every single week. What's going on, beautiful people? We got a bunch of stuff to talk to you about this week, up to including an official version of Linux on the Apple M1 Silicon. And hot, fresh new kernel. Ubuntu has changed the logo, apparently, and some people are confused, angered, upset, occasionally pleased. And of course, what episode would be complete without a 3D printed Raspberry Cray?
Yeah.
These are all things, all that more on this episode of Weekly Daily Wednesdays. What's going on, everybody? Been playing around. I got a bunch of stuff to get done. I'm having decision paralysis. There's a bunch of things I'm trying to get accomplished video-wise, and I don't know which one needs my utmost attention. I haven't made up my mind yet. And I got to order a new mouse. I got to order a new mouse because I break mouses. There's no physical damage on them whatsoever, but I crushed the micro switches, and I tried to replace the micro switch in my first Elgato Huge, and this is my second Elgato Huge, so that should tell you how well that experiment went.
Hi, Steve husband. Hi, Arthurian. Yeah, Ben needs a new mouse, and Arthurian, I need a new mouse too. My pink mouse died. I'm so bummed. Got used for lots of hours of gaming. And I'm gentle with my mice. I'm surprised. Usually they last me, like 10 years. But it died.
So has anybody new got their Steam Decks?
Bad USB controller, maybe.
That's what I'm curious about. Because they're starting to trickle in. I know Rohit got his. Matthew's got his second one. Pedro got his. What do we have in the way of Steam Decks right now? I don't know. I see some people talking about reservations in the main channel. And I'm just not going to throw out and order one. We were talking about that in the pre-show. What I want from Valve is a little hockey puck. I want the Steam Deck internals without the controller, without the screen. Just something I can, a Nook-style Steam Deck at that price range, because that would be an incredible deal.
Yeah, it really would be.
April and June.
Yeah, Arthurian. So mine still says Q1, but there's two more weeks of Q1. But I have a feeling it's going to be Q2, because I know a lot of people have said that they were Q2 and they're now Q3. So I think the schedule has shifted a little bit. Valve has been doing very well, but I think, I think I'm going to get mine in Q2 since I haven't heard yet. But there's still 2 more weeks.
Maybe it'll show up. Maybe it's already shown up and Steve's got it at work. He's playing with it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the problem all along. I don't know. I'm glad everyone's getting them and everyone's playing around with them. But, I need to see more people install Windows 11 on it. Or at least Windows 10.
Shh, Steve husband says.
Steve doesn't know what to do with it. He uses it to keep the door propped open, and sometimes a file cabinet. But what would you do with a Steam Deck? I don't know. I thought about sending them as surprise, Christmas gifts to people I know that don't game at all. Just to see what they come up with. You could paint it. You could do a custom skin. The CAD files. STLs. I'm old. Call everything CAD files. But they're available. Office hours. I don't know. I think it would be fun to print one out and do a sand mold and do a cast iron one for a case. That'd be fun. Aluminium would be real easy. I'm pretty good at smelting. But I don't know what type of like rando interference problems that would introduce. The Wi-Fi might be a bit dodgy if I did that. But probably. Do you know what the killer app for a Steam Deck is? Netflix.
Yeah. Netflix, Amazon Prime.
Or something. Video-wise, I'm kind of surprised, you know, that wasn't announced. That we were going to see, you know, be it Amazon Prime, be it Crunchyroll or Netflix. I know, 1.5 hours for a portable quad-core x86 processor with GPU and a screen. Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, I can't pretend to be shocked about the battery life. And I'm like, all right, almost 2 hours when you get it like cranked to 11. Not bad. Not bad. Don't worry. I mean, I don't know how New Zealand's rolling. I know, you know, Australia probably won't get them until, you know, a decade from now. Could be people just being a little salty.
Yeah. Hi, Inertia. How you doing?
I don't know. I mean,
Hey, Daisy. Aw, cute. Aw. I like her pink hair.
I'd step on that, whatever that is. Yeah, I don't have a problem with the battery life. That's within my expectations. But then again, I'm of a certain age. I had a TurboGrafx 16 portable. I had the Game Gear.
Yeah.
Like 2 hours? 2 hours? I don't know. What's the battery life on a Switch? Because I'm curious. How much power does
that I don't know.
7-year-old mobile phone?
Yeah. You used to always get like up to maybe 6 hours, 5-6 hours. Yeah, that was a thing. And then you had to recharge it during the day.
Yeah, put everything in 15 FPS mode. I don't know. Then again, this all goes back to I really have no use for a portable gaming device in my life. I want the Steam Deck Nook. I want that hardware package and just like a little mini brick because that would be very cool. I would instantly buy 2, possibly 3, just to replace these 3 business PCs I have down below me. And, you know, and again, there's a good point right there. You can't buy this amount of hardware for that price anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for only twice the price. Yeah. And you also have to lug around a laptop. I don't know. It's targeted at different markets. It'll be interesting to see what, if this is any encouragement to
Yeah.
Nintendo. Like maybe update the Switch. Maybe Sony will get back in the game.
That would be sweet.
That'd be interesting because I'd like to imagine like what we would see in mobile gaming, the portable gaming market as a dedicated handheld. I understand the reservations. Like maybe I don't want to go completely into that because mobile gaming is all done on your phone. But there is clearly an underserved market that is tired of playing Switch games.
Yeah. Want something fresh and new. They want the Steam Deck.
Hi, Gaben.
Yeah. Artherin, I'm so sorry. When did you order your Steam Deck? Did you say I think you said in the...
Yeah, about 20 minutes ago.
General. Oh, okay. That's why it's so late. I thought you had already ordered one. So...
No, I'm good. I'm good. Give me that puck, Gabe. Give me that puck. Give me that little brick without the screen or the controllers attached to it for $400, and I'll buy one. I'll probably never have a monitor plugged into it, but well, you know what? I might plug a monitor into it. Patience always wins. You got to be able to sit back and let everybody else do all the testing and get all the bugs worked out. There's nothing wrong with that. That's like we were talking about. You got to have patience because, we're going to be talking about the Apple M1. And there's a certain amount of temptation to run out and buy one. And
absolutely.
Just to put Linux
we were talking about that.
Yeah, to play around with it.
And I just don't want to spend $1,000 to do it yet. I was telling Van, I was looking at an iMac, a pink iMac, but I just couldn't see myself spending just under $1,000 to play with it.
If I can, yeah. Like, I think those are very neat, but not $1,000 neat. I don't have a use for one outside of like, why do you have that? Because it's neat. You want to see it boot Linux? Come on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Don M. Yeah, I actually looked at the refurb. That was very good. I think I saw one for as low as like $950. Yeah, I actually did find one. And I think I found a refurb. I found a couple refurbs or a couple used ones on Amazon too and eBay.
It's always tricky getting the secondhand Apple stuff because it's few and far between. Because your typical person is going to like blindly buy the Apple. They're gonna get it. They will refuse to acknowledge there's anything wrong with it. Everything is perfect. How dare you besmirch? You want to see the saddest subreddit on all of Reddit, which is weird. And I don't say this with any joy whatsoever because I feel bad for my brothers and sisters that have a Mac. But it's Mac Gaming, the Mac Gaming subreddit. Because that is like reading the Linux Gaming subreddit 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. They're like, do you think maybe if we all got together and we talked to this one company, maybe we could get a Mac ported again? Maybe? Especially with the architecture change. And they are very excited about the latest release of Crossover.
Yeah. I hear you, Don M.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the only thing I've looked at like half seriously is the new jumbo Samsung tablet, which like 13 inches or something like that. Something ridiculous. Don't need it.
Well, you're using it for streaming, so that makes sense.
What?
You're using it for for doing social networking and whatnot. Not streaming. Sorry.
I used to watch my YouTube videos, Joe.
Yeah. Well, consuming content, yes. You just use it for videos, not for doing Twitter and stuff? Because I see you on mobile doing Twitter.
Not sending a tweet?
Yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to like social media and stuff, that's all my social media. That's why you get like a feed of randomness of stuff I find interesting. EU4 complete. Yeah. Wait. What is EU4? Anybody want to? Oh, that's why I don't know what it is. All right,
yeah.
Whatever. You can get Back for Blood on the Humble Bundle for $40.
Yeah, with the support the Ukrainian people bundle. That's amazing what they've already earned.
That was my I bought a bunch of games for a giveaway on Friday for Trackmania, and I got a copy of Back for Blood without having to buy it directly. So maybe when and if they flip the EAC button on that, we can go back to playing it.
Woohoo!
Yeah, what is Europa? Is that just like Total War type stuff? That's what I imagine it is.
Yeah, I haven't played it either, but that's what it looks. That's what the logo looks like. Total War series.
Yeah. It might not be. Who knows? Jill, for all we know, it's a fast-paced first-person shooter with horses.
Yeah. I think I will go take a break, and we can get going. Yay!
Spreadsheet simulator. Yeah. I mean, more power to anyone who can play those. I don't. My speed. Let me tell you, everyone. Here's my speed. My speed this past 4 or 5 days has been playing Alice. Madness Returns, the sequel to the original Alice. There's probably a connection there. It would be kind of strange if I played Madness Returns. You're like, oh, what? Was there the original Madness? Like, no, we just made it up. If I ever release a game, it's going to be game 4 to make people think there's 3 other versions. Interesting story behind Madness Returns, because way back when, it was on Steam way back when. Then EA did an EA, and they're like, hey, we're going to make our own Steam with loot boxes and stuff like that. So they pulled Madness Returns off of Steam, which really didn't mean anything at the time. Like, well, I guess I'm never going to, because I was never going to go through the trouble of like setting that up with wine or anything like that. Then Proton rolled out and they put a nice little play button in, and that's my speed these days. I'm like, can I click play? And is it going to work? And once that's matured to that point, it's like, oh man, maybe I could go back and play. Oh, look, they've taken that off the Steam store for a long time. How much did the gray market? Oh, $200 for a Madness Return Steam key. Guess I'll never play that. But EA decided, hey, we like money. And they put their games back on Steam. And it was on sale for like $6. Picked it up. Game from 2011. Puzzle platformer, but it's still got that American McGee, like darker, twisted take on Wonderland. And you're dealing with some 2011 mechanics, which they will get you killed to death in a couple of occasions, but fun game. Holds up. All of the art style, like kind of like Borderlands, it's hyper stylized. So, I mean, it still looks perfectly serviceable in 2022. And most importantly, you get the XKCD trick of playing the games much later. You can play it at 2160 or consumer 4K on a 2060, 60 FPS all day after you hack around the Unreal Engine INI file, because it ships out of the box locked at 30, which is a sin. Urban strategy? No. At its core, 90%, 95% of the time in that game, it's Mario. I mean, it's jump puzzles, more jumping puzzles. Then you wail on some, dismembered, disemboweled children's dolls. That's the other 5%. And, it's got some weapons, upgrade systems, and all that. Combat's fine until it's not. There you go. Professionalism, isn't it? It was pretty good. The original Alice. What was that? I never went back and looked it up. I think it was using the Quake 2 engine. Because we were all amazed, like we didn't know you could do that with this engine. And 20 plus years ago, that was the first game I was able to get working with Wine. It might have been Wine X or Sedega or whatever it was, with hardware acceleration. And it kind of worked, but it gave me that oh, wait a minute. This is going to be a thing now? And here we are, right? Here we are. Quake 3? I don't know. My first one, I want to say it was Quake 2. Build ID Tech. I don't know. Man, if I was only in front of a computer machine. Oh, it was incredibly, it was a flawed game, man. Okay, so it was ID Tech 3. Right on. Quake 3 Arena. Oh, yeah. I got it. Remember when you couldn't just type your question into the magic Google box? This is why people used to talk more. Because we got to sit and debated this and had conversations for the next 35, 40 minutes. Like, nah, let's just type that. Okay, there it is. When nobody knows. But here's the thing, in our modern time, we've turned that into, especially on like pre-shows and post-shows, it's turned into we've gamified it. Like, who can suss it out? Who was that actor's name, or what game engine was that? And everyone gets together, especially when we'll do it a lot on Saturdays, and like, no one cheat. Then after a while, we get irritated and we look it up and find out who was right. Cheat codes? Who remembers the diary that you got with Myst? Think about this. Straight up, I borrowed a copy of Myst from a friend, and he gave me his notebook, his diary. And I'm like, this is silly. I'm like, man, you're just getting too much into the game. You need that. You absolutely needed that. Like, I was cross-referencing and adding footnotes in that thing. Yeah, and I mean, if you want to go really far back, when I start thinking about pen and paper with computer games, I think about the early days of copy protection, DRM, with like decoder wheels. Or you had to have the game manual and it would say, what is the word on page 7, paragraph 3, fifth word or something like that. Those were a pain. But that was just reality back then. Nowadays, fortunately, we just have always online DRM that'll prevent your brand new racing game from working for 30 hours. That was kind of interesting. CD keys and secure ROM. I don't know. When I think about modern DRM, I think about because you only remember all the, in a perfect world, you don't even know something has any type of DRM on it. But in reality, you distinctly remember the ones that bite you and bite you hard. And the only time I've been bit, like legitimately wanted to forge a complaint, but it just wasn't worth my time, was when Devil May Cry 5. I got that. And I was trying to get the settings. This was the earlier days of Proton. And I was working, because I was making a video about how to get it up and working on Proton. And that day, I'd apparently changed too many things with Proton versions, so it locked me out of the game before it even had a chance to get in it and play it. I effectively got a 24-hour ban from a brand new game, from whatever DRM was built into it. Waited, and I was able to get back into it and play it. Yeah, I'm terrified about anything that requires always online connectivity. And this is here's the reality. Okay, here's another time. Non-gaming related DRM that I had to make a choice when I got DaVinci Resolve Pro version. I could either get a dongle, hardware dongle, and always keep that plugged in. Or I can do the online thing. And I went for the online thing just out of ease. I don't want to have to keep track of a dongle, and just, I've had dongles die, and getting those replaced is like pulling teeth. So I went with the online, and there's a bug with, it was Debian 10 at the time, that if you couldn't clear your keys, and DaVinci is supposed to be smart enough to, because every now and then it'll do a key check. They're like, hey, re-enter your key right quick. We want to bounce that off the server. And you're like, all right, that's fine. And it's supposed to clear your activations. It couldn't do that on Debian 10. So you would enter it, and it's like, nope, there's a problem. And there is no error reporting in that application whatsoever. That is atrocious from Blackmagic. But I even ring up Blackmagic, and I'm like, hey, I got this problem. I'm like, so you're running CentOS 7, right? And I'm like, nope. They're like, not our problem. Click. I ended up getting Jordan, because I know Jordan was on Fedora. I'm like, hey, Jordan, install DaVinci for me real quick and punch this code in and deactivate all the copies. That was my workaround. So yeah, online DRM can bite you. Piracy's not going away because people are cheap and people are kids. Everyone remembers being broke. Plus, I'm lazy. See, piracy exists because there's like friction. Like, Steam figured this out. Like, just give me a button to buy something. It's like that time money proposition. You make it easy. Netflix. That's why it exists. Like, all right, I don't have time to go searching around, torrent something, keeping track of my seating ratios and all that fun stuff. Like, nah, I'm just gonna give you some money and click a play button.
Ah, yes. We have so many services now. It's amazing. Can't even keep up with them all.
We do. And like, I'm 100% for, like, I'm somebody that when you talk about, especially like MMOs, things that wind me up is like the Matrix Online, something like that. That the back end of that should be released and stuff like those things in games like online key servers and stuff like that. Yeah, absolutely blow a hole in it. But we all know we're not talking about that. The person who gets wound up is that person who's like, I don't pay for anything ever, and like wants to do victory laps about it. I'm like, that's cool, man, but that doesn't impress me. Well, I mean, offline, if you don't want to go back to offline DRM, we've just had that conversation. We don't need our decoder rings as much as people would love to have that back. Stacks of, what does it say when it's in this position? Like, there's your code. I don't know, Beastwick. You might want to tell that to some of the Elden Ring modders that have been wrecking that as of late. Who knows? Who knows? Well, it's 3:30. Let me get something to drink, Jill, and we'll hop into it.
Okay.
I am done regaling everyone with tales of being old.
Yes. Aw. Yeah, inertia. It's always fun. It's hard to. There are so many different services. I don't have HBO Max. I used to have it, and I don't have it now. And I kind of wanted to watch the new Matrix movie. So, and some other things because they have good shows. But it seems like I jump around because I've got so many. I mean, when you have Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, Peacock, Disney Plus, Paramount, it's just ongoing. So I come to a point where like, okay, I got to put a limit on this and then just kind of rotate from one to another, one of the accounts. Yeah, it just died. I think it was honestly, the USB on it. Because it was having, I had booted the computer a few times and it was having problems detecting it. And then today when I came in and booted the computer, it wasn't even lighting up anymore. But it's been a really good mouse, so I'm not complaining. I'm just sad that it died so early because they don't usually die on me that quickly. Do, 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 do. Yeah, Mir, you didn't touch it. Nope. Yeah, I very rarely have a mouse die on me. I mean, I still have mice that are fine from 30 years ago. But I've noticed the USB ones are a little more temperamental, especially, depending how, since the 90s, and they're made with a little cheaper parts now, unfortunately. But what I liked about the mouse you got me, it's an Ajaz mouse, and it's nice and heavy, which I love heavier mice. Back to PS2 mice, I know, they never failed. And I think I think you're right on that. The failure point on mice is often the USB, not the mouse itself. So, yeah, I still have lots of PS2 mice I'm using. In fact, I could plug a PS2 mouse into this computer because I got a gamer motherboard on it that supports PS2. Yeah, you remember when PS2 mices came along? A lot of us were still happy with Serial. Like, why are we going to a new format? Serial ones work just fine. Oh yeah, that was a thing especially with the ball mice. True, Mir. I didn't order another one. I'm just using another one, but I put another one in my own personal Amazon wish list. Not my LGC one, but I just put one in my, because I wanted to make sure it was still available. Yeah, ADB mice still work well too. All my Mac ADB mouses work pretty well. Usually after you clean the ball, especially the ones I usually have to clean are the ones I get, vintage from eBay and whatnot, and often those need to be cleaned because they don't have the cleanliness that I do. So
You see, children, the upcoming youth will never be able to experience the joy of going into the computer lab and taking all the mouse balls.
Yep. I had a student do that one time, and I knew exactly what student it was. And he apologized. He goes, "I was just joking, teacher." And I said, "Well, you have to clean the computers now." So he did. No, he was actually a really good student. He was having fun, but it was interfering with class. So I had him clean the keyboards and the mice and everything for doing that. He was okay. He understood. He got caught.
You're not doing anything wrong until you get caught. Hey, that was his first mistake.
Yeah.
Old computers? Yeah, I couldn't. I mean, I still use a mouse with a ball, so.
Yep, you got your trackball mouse.
That's just a big ball. I used to have a spare ball, but no joke, the day this thing showed up, I was cleaning the ball, and the upstairs bathroom is just marble floor, and these will bounce exactly twice on the marble before shattering. They could. I mean, they were lead weights. There were some pretty violent things, but hey. I remember getting, had to have been like 2000.
Yeah, they sure
was
could.
The first time I got a optical mouse. It wasn't a laser mouse, but it was optical. And it was like, oh man, this is how real people live. Because you didn't need a mouse pad.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the nice thing. Yes.
Ball house. Yeah, I mean that there was an art to cleaning the old ball houses, you know, like scraping the gunk line off of the wheels.
Yeah.
This was the thing you had to do. But fortunately, those days are gone. Now I just pop the ball out and head up with the air. Like, done. All right, let's get underway. Let's get this.
Okay.
Scroll down. Scroll too far. Let's scroll back up. Maybe. There it is. All right. There we go. Had another person ask me, how do I get rid of my clicking keyboard sound when I'm trying to stream? They didn't like my answer. They didn't like it. Not even a little bit.
No.
Okay. That's recording. That's recording. We should be good. And hey everyone, welcome back to Weekly Daily Wednesdays, where we sit back, relax, take that midweek break, talk about some of the fun things going on in the world of Linux, open source, and I got to fix the wheel on this chair. It goes click, clack.
Clunk.
I got my own, I don't have a clacky keyboard, Jill. I just got a clacky chair sometimes if I move it just right.
Okay.
Like clunk. Oh man,
Yes.
We were talking about that right before we started recording. Somebody wrote in, they're like, hey man, how do I silence my mechanical keyboard sounds when I'm doing live streams? How would you do that, Jill?
Well, you could use a membrane keyboard or just get a better mic that's more directional and use brown keys or red keys or black keys. That does help a lot on the mechanical keyboards.
Correct answer. You had it right out of the gate. Don't use a mechanical keyboard when you're streaming.
Yes.
There's the also like, yeah, here's your free pro tip. Get a dynamic mic. Get a dynamic mic. Don't use a condenser mic. And don't use something that makes noise. I could hold up any other like noise-making device. And you're like, that's silly, Vin. Why do you have a noise-making device near your microphone? Of course you're going to hear that. But if you turn that noise-making device into, a keyboard, they're like, but I don't understand. Why is it picking up my noise-making device? Let me tell you why. Because it's a microphone and it's making noise. There you go.
And it's amplifying it. Yes.
Get off my lawn. Jill, what's new with you, man?
Oh, boy. Well, I just realized that this week is actually my 4-year anniversary of being here on LWDW. Oh, my goodness gracious. It's been so wonderful and fun being with Ven, and I do miss Pedro a lot, but I'm still here with Ven, so that's cool.
I could tell you how long the show's been going if you held a loaded penguin to my head. No idea. It's just, yeah, time flies. Time does fly. Speaking of shows, we had that wacky Lutris kid. You ever played around with Lutris? I hear System 76 enjoys it because their phone system runs off of it. But
yes, absolutely.
if you want to play something outside of Steam, you want to play your GOG library, classic games and stuff like that, it's been around a lot longer than Proton. And Matthew does the project. He's the lead developer on that. We had him come on the show. It's previous Saturday. You can go back, watch the video, listen to the podcast. And he talks about, he's got a Steam Deck, playing with Lutris on the Steam Deck, what he likes about the Steam Deck, and just like getting Lutris in a flat pack. What are some plans in the future? And, I asked him a couple other questions. So go back and watch that if you want. I think it might be kind of fun. Let's see. I bought a power supply, Jill. I was very, my HDMI splitter showed up too. It was a welcome to getting excited about weird, pointless things. I wasn't very excited. I'm like, oh no, I got to go install that HDMI splitter. Fortunately, there wasn't a problem. But I did get this. There. That is my PSAC.
Aw.
That is a rack-mounted power supply because I need things like that now. And okay, I now have
That's
one.
so cool.
It is exceedingly
Old school.
red. Yeah, it's got a big chunky switch on the front of it and clunk. Like, okay, hey, okay. Here was the moment though. The thing that I bought it for has a power button on it that I accidentally depressed when I was pulling everything out of the rack and repositioning it. So of course I cut everything on and I cut on the power supply and the preamp doesn't cut on. I'm like, lovely. I just got something that doesn't work. I'm going to have to send this back and I'm going to put it in a box and it's going to be boring. But fortunately, before I pulled everything apart, I thought, hey, wait a minute. Click, and I cut the power button on. I'm like, there it is. Everything works. I was excited.
Yeah, that's always nerve-wracking, Van. Seeing if it's going to fire up, just like when you build a computer and you turn it on for the first time.
It's never a good time, but fortunately, everything worked out. Checking if it was on saved the day. Now,
Yeah.
we do have some exciting things going on. One of those being,
Yeah, absolutely.
I gotta say, I'm not a fan of this name, Asahi Linux.
Asahi Linux, yes.
I want to call it like Cupertino Stomper 9000.
Yeah.
But we talked about it several times. Mark he's been working on getting everything up and running Linux-wise on the M1 architecture, and we finally have the first alpha release, and everything works perfectly out of the box. No, it doesn't, but this is to be expected. A couple of things that you need to find out about. You're going to need 15 gigs for your Asahi Linux desktop, but Mac OS itself needs a lot more free space for the system to work. The installer will expect you to have at least 38 gigabytes of extra slack in Mac OS by default to avoid shooting yourself in the foot. So keep that in mind. This is not like ready to be put on for a daily driver. This is for developers, not end users. Keep that in mind because there's things like no support for accelerated GPU, DisplayPort, Thunderbolt, no camera or touch bar support, full support for USB 3 and the speakers in the works.
Yay.
And there is a note that if your Wi-Fi doesn't work properly, try cutting it off and on again because that seems to get everything sorted. It was kind of interesting that, the Linux kernel for Asahi is compiled to use 16K pages. So some apps are not going to work. I don't think like Firefox or Chrome or anything like that. It's going to be, and again, this is to start testing. This is start getting feedback from end users and finding new and exciting ways to break things. Pretty excited about it.
Yeah. And I know they also said that the alpha build is meant to install besides Mac OS. They don't have just a standalone install yet for Asahi Linux, but that is, of course, coming. And the system requirements are actually the M1, the M1 Pro, the M1 Max, but not the latest Mac Studio yet. That will come in a future release. And, because this is an alpha release and the Asahi developers have worked so hard and want to improve their distro, if you install it, they are asking for your help by filing detailed bug reports and helping debug issues. So just like any other open source project, please contribute. It really will help them, and it will help them improve Asahi Linux and get Linux running on one of the best new processors out there.
And I don't think it's as crazy as it sounds, because when you're pitching this, you're saying, yes, the people who bought an M1 are going to put Linux on it. There's a lot more crossover than you might initially think of people who have at least some Apple hardware, be it from work. Now, it's your work laptop, probably not a good idea to do this. I'm not going to stop you. I'm not your parents, but we were talking about this. It's kind of a hard sell to go out. Like even in the used market, you're still looking at like $900,000 for a little M1 brick. Might not be within your budgets. And I understand that, because what am I going to do with this? I've never used the Apple side of it. Nothing against using Mac OS X, but there's nothing on there that I have any need for. So dropping $1,000 for like admittedly something really cool to play with would be irresponsible-ish.
Yeah, kind of irresponsible. Yeah, I was telling Vin I went the iMac M1, the pink one, really bad, and I've been looking for used ones and refurbished ones, and they're all close to still the $1,000 mark, even used or refurbished. So I need to wait until they come down to at least half that.
Yeah. You got to catch them. You got to be careful. You got to make sure you grab it when it's Yeah, before they start getting color. How much does the, because I have I have two Apple devices. I have like an old PPC pack, and, but I have the original Apple TV.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I still have mine too. I still have one too. I actually grabbed one for $30 one time on eBay. I'm like, oh, it's only $3. Okay.
Bought that to put buttocks on it just to play around with. But it was old and outdated when I bought it. But, maybe I look forward into like 5 to 7 years, maybe picking up an M1 for a couple $100 to play around with.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
we'll have the advantage. By then, everything will just work out of the box. It'll be awesome.
Very true. If we have patience, all things will work.
Mm-hmm. All right. We have a brand new logo. And man, if there's something people say about me is I just can't get enough of design. I really I don't, not at all. But Jill does.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So Ubuntu has a brand new logo, but don't worry, it still has the white and orange colors that we're all used to seeing for the many years of using Ubuntu. And what's really cool is the Circle of Friends motif graphic is still there, but it's actually a much tighter design and more unified. So now, and if you didn't know, there's actually 3 people that make up the Ubuntu logo, and they're called the Circle of Friends. And now they are actually embracing or hugging with their heads pointed inwards into the circle instead of outwards and holding hands like the previous logos. And also the logo is now on the bottom, actually, of a tall orange rectangle. And it is almost as if they are saying, let's make great things together because the sky or the cloud is the limit. And, really this new logo embodies a more modern representation of Canonical's growth in the cloud, the Internet of Things, and AI. And it really makes sense. They needed to modernize it. It hadn't been worked on since the middle 2000s. So it's nice to get a newer modern logo. And even the Ubuntu text has become more slimmer and more modern looking. So it just makes sense. And I actually really appreciate the logo. It is really clean and modern. And I think they did a good job at moving the heads of the 3 people inside the circle because it's more friendlier somehow. It's nicer.
I mean, I take a look at it. I mean, it's so radical, so forward-thinking, cosmically different.
Yeah.
I'm struck, just speechless that you created HAL 9000 Canonical. I mean, seriously, that's what you did.
Whoa, yes.
That's what we got. That's what we got. Anyway, I understand people put time and effort into that and cool, but there's a lot of us like, we need to go be productive somewhere, but hey, it's a thing. The dots for my people, they moved some dots around. I don't think it affected anything that matters, but hey, I mean, Jill, you notice stuff like that. So
yeah. and yeah, I think the logo also really embodies what Ubuntu means, which is actually humanity. Or another word is like humanity coming together, being a community. And this really embodies that. Changing.
Just like HAL 9000.
Well, Vin isn't Dave, but he might want to be.
This is what we're going to think about. We're just like, I'm sorry. That's what it's going to do when you like try to run something without sudo. It's like, I can't do that, Hal.
Yeah.
Oh, man. We just thought that was a fun thing to mention. And
yeah,
again, I have nothing against like logos and stuff like that. You can put like typography and stuff in front of me and like, there's a difference there, Grandpa. And I'm like, I just can't see it. But hey, if that's your thing, go for it. More power to you. Kernel 5.17 out, nothing terribly crazy in this, nothing earth-shattering, and I think that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so Linus Torvalds, announced the release of the Linux kernel 5.17 this last Sunday, as he always does on Sundays. And it includes lots of new support for processors, graphic card storage, and hardware. So it's not the biggest update, but it does have some very important features. It includes temperature support for the AMD Zen family of devices, which is always needed and has been needed for a while. And one of my favorites is it has a fix to a long-standing floppy disk hangs bug where the system may hang when trying to read a broken floppy disk. And honestly, as I was reading this, I was remembering I've encountered this before, and I would have to reboot the computer to get it out of trying to read a bad floppy. It was stuck in a loop, and you couldn't do anything else in the terminal. That was a pain. So it's just nice to see the Linux kernel being updated to fix issues with older hardware, and for all my older computers I use that still have floppy disks in them, which are many of them.
You know what? I'm glad that they got this fixed and sorted just in time to remove support for the FTD controller from the kernel. Because why is that? I'm thinking about it then. And, from debugpoint.com, all this is going to be in our show notes. The one thing I'm thinking about, what it says in the article, who uses floppy disk today? And I have to think about that would require having floppy disks that you can still read and that are of use. Like outside of YouTube video creators. Yeah. Do I have some floppy disks? Yes, I do. Because I think anybody of a certain age, you still have like that one pop open thing with some disk in it somewhere for whatever reason. Yeah.
Yes, I actually still have literally over 1,000 floppy disks. I still have all the floppy disks I've ever owned, and I would back them up on zip drives, zip disks, and then SideQuest drives, and eventually CDs and DVDs. So I have all that, all those floppies from doing animation back in the day when we had to use floppies in the 80s. It was a thing. So.
And kind of one of the interesting things about that is you can probably read a lot more of those floppies than you could those burned CDs today.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I have a little external USB floppy drive that I still, they still work.
That's always
they work well.
Longevity. Now, like most people, I put everything, I write to like Stone Tablet. That's the best way to do it, for archive.
Yeah.
Write speed's a little slow, admittedly. No, this is good. A couple of hardware updates, notable hardware updates, real-time clock driver for the Nintendo GameCube, because that's a thing. But
that's
Intel
important.
Alder Lake and audio support, which is also good to see.
Yeah, yes.
That was kind of funny.
Especially for our future Intel GPUs that we're waiting very patiently for.
I want to see what's going on with that. But, we did see, we were talking about this on Saturday. Somebody had managed to get Windows 11 and, of course, Windows 10 because Valve has released, some basic drivers from AMD for the Steam Deck. And most things kind of sort of work for the most part. But at the end of the day, there's no audio on Windows and Steam Deck. So kudos, Microsoft. Yes. You finally achieved feature parity with Linux.
Well, in fact, in this version of the Linux kernel 5.17, there's the inclusion of the AMD P-State driver, which is actually developed in collaboration with Valve for the Steam Deck, and this will lead to better power performance on the Steam Deck. So we're already, seeing the results of our beloved Steam Decks and their collaboration with the Linux kernel. It's awesome.
So, audio on Linux, believe it or not, does work, despite what the internet says.
Woohoo!
And I've been over this a million times. Linux doesn't care whether or not you're smart enough to use it, but that's not going to stop you from blaming it for not knowing what you're doing. It happens. It happens.
Yes.
I think that's something just built into a lot of people. If you can't figure out how to do something with a thing, it doesn't matter if it's software, mechanical, or that thing's stupid because you can't figure out how to use it all by yourself without doing any research on it whatsoever. I'm like, that thing's done. Linux can kind of be like that. And I do a series trying to help people clear up some things called Interfacing Linux, just covering some audio backend stuff that I do here, but also slowly but surely compiling a list of audio devices that more or less either do work out of the box with Linux or just don't. And I was kind of fascinated by a French company that's been in the business of pro audio for a long time because they have official Linux support. In fact, like for their newer devices, they even have a GitHub repo where you can go download the drivers, compile them yourself, and there's built-in support, official support from them inside the Linux kernel. I'm talking about Digigram. This video took longer to make than it should have because I had to get less angry in order to finish making it. There's versions of this video that no one's ever going to see because that is like me being genuinely cross. I'm talking about the VX222E. This is, it's a 2-in, 2-out. Look at that. Look at my big fancy instrument. No, I picked it up because I wanted to show this thing off. I wanted to show off interface with open source drivers, official Linux support. Instead, about 2 hours after I got this, I was Googling whether or not dumpster fire was hyphenated or not, which probably not where you want to be. I mean, no, it does work as your basic 2-in, 2-out sound card, and that's about it. Really, the only fancy thing this card does is that it can handle AES, digital audio. You get 2 channels in, 2 channels out. Unfortunately, I started running into kind of the same problems I did with my VX222V2 is this is a PCI card that's been bolted onto a PCI Express interface. Yeah,
that makes sense.
Something you never want to do. It's a bad idea. It's the reason the 222V2. I talked to some ALSA developers about the V222V2, and they're like, yeah, they bolted an ISA card onto a PCI interface, and we just got tired of trying to make it work right. So continuing in that tradition, this is a PCI card on a PCI Express interface, and I'm thinking, hey, man, finally, PCI Express. I don't have to worry about getting a motherboard with legacy support. Now, you will see, you're like, hey, man, that's a Xilinx FPGA, can do some cool stuff. And you would be right. I mean, it's got a 3-band parametric equalizer, sonic maximizer, and a bunch of cool little fun things that they don't offer support for under Linux. You find that out once you get the card and start playing around with it. And here's what I'll say about it. It's got, it does work with the jack. But in order to get it up and running with jack, you have to set a buffer size so high it introduces, look at it, it's even got a little headphone jack. Ain't that adorable? The round trip latency is laughably high. It's unusably high for real-time monitoring. And here's the biggest problem with it. Okay, you get breakout cables where there's nothing new there. I mean, XLR and AES. By the way, I do want to point out, if your IS number is 6 or above, you got to go compile your own drivers. Keep that in mind. Also, Mixer works. I mean, everything's there. You could use this as a sound card. If you just wanted to use this as a standard sound card for your Linux box, it'll work 100%, no problem whatsoever. It's just when you try to start doing things with jack and actual production, professional production stuff, it's bad. It's bad. You're looking at like 58 milliseconds of round trip latency. Okay, look at this. At 48K at buffer size 128, it's 30.24 milliseconds. A $99 Scarlett Gen 3, which I bought, there's a video on, does it in 6. So yeah, there's your difference. But here's the biggest problem. That these things are about $600, Jill.
Yeah, very expensive. Yeah. Finn, I don't know if you remember, but the first 6 months I was on LWW, I was using one of those cards, a PCI version, with my microphone. It worked well. But then I got a new mic and I updated to a USB interface. So yeah, and I kind of remember when you said it was a PCI and a PCIX form factor, and the PCI one was an ISA into a PCI. I remember reading about that.
Yeah, the PCI versions of those just don't function correctly at all under Linux, because I have one of those too.
Yeah.
That's, I went through it, and then, I talked with the also developers, and they're like, these things are dodgy, and we don't deal with it because Digigram does the drivers themselves. I'm like, yeah, all right. Maybe I want to make this point. These things might work an absolute treat under Windows.
Yeah.
But under Linux, there you go. That's what I found out. And I would not recommend anyone owning one intentionally. Like, if you had nothing,
I remember
in your house,
installing really old drivers for it. Someone had made some Linux drivers.
Digigram makes the Linux drivers for it.
Digigram, yeah.
And they're built
some
into the
old
kernel.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a PCI. I got a 222 V2. I've done a whole article and write-up on it. If you want to go find that at linuxgamecast.com. But that's not the only audio-related stuff I want to talk about this week, because I brought up that Scarlett when I was talking about that little YouTuber special, the Focusrite Scarlett. And if you got a nicer one, something a little more grunt for it, you might have played around looking for a mixer. And also a mixer, that's kind of a pain to deal with because, it's confusing. You pull it up something with 100 controls. That's a lot of scrolling. This aims to help sort some of that. And no, I know. You're like, wait a minute, that's a command line. No, it's just to open the also Scarlett GUI. And this is a slick little piece. What do you think about this, Jill? Do you think this looks all right?
Oh, yeah. I thought it looked beautiful. In fact, I thought it looked nicer than the QJack CTL patch bay. It's very, very sleek and nice looking, and it looks easy to use.
It is. And it works with everything. Now, only like the 4i4s and the 1820. Okay, yeah. For like the single channel, 2-channel, you don't get all the mixing stuff because they don't have an internal mixer, but you will get access to be able to cut up the air button on and off, switch the phantom power, line button, direct monitoring. All of that's built into it. But if you have an 1820 or a 4i4, you get all of the internal routing, so you can make your own custom mixes and do all the other fun stuff with it. And I just wanted to give this project a mention. There is one, Robin made one for the Gen 2 18i20. And it's still around. It's one that you've probably discovered looking around, but it's a bit older. This is a more updated. It's using GTK4, which means I can run it because I'm on Debian, and I'm not going down that rabbit hole of setting up GTK4. As far as I went was like app search GTK. Nope, not there. Nope.
Yeah, understand.
So, if you get a Scarlett and you we need stuff like this. To me,
awesome.
Not really a big deal, but somebody moving over, they need the transitional software. They need their buttons. They need the GUI application right there in front of them. Like, hey, I want to cut this on. Or if I want to do basic routing, how do I do that? That's a big, big question. Like voice meter banana. I'm like, okay, this will give you the things that you can drag around and you don't have to use Jack in order to get it set up and running. So, Focusrite, it's perfectly serviceable for what it is. I think it's a little overpriced, but hey, you could do a lot worse. That's what I said about the one I picked up. And I have a Sapphire Pro 40 from Focusrite. I got a big chunky, and it's fine. I don't have a problem with it. We got anything else on that? I don't think so. Does that do it? We got to thank some people, Joe. We do. Yeah,
we've got to thank Pebble. He's our new executive producer. Thank you so much, Pebble.
Executive producer? What are you talking about? How does that work? How do I become an executive producer, Jill?
Oh, boy. Well, you just go to patreon.com and sign up. There we have different levels that you can sign up for. You could different price rates per week. And the executive producer is the second to the top one under advisor.
Just don't enter the Konami code. Yeah, we got a bunch of rewards. We got a bunch of things, man. We got access
you get
to
access to show notes, Discord.
You get a custom live video channel for our pre-super shows. And if you want to watch it on Saturdays, but we do invite you to come hang out with us. And if you like just this middle part, you're listening to this, you're like, that's pretty decent. I want to listen to these dorks talk some more. This is just the middle of the show. We do a pre-show and after show. We put that in podcast format. We put that out there in your custom RSS feeds. All this is over on our YouTube channel if you want to check that out as well. But I do want to thank Pebble. I remembered to put you in the credits. Hey, also.
Yay, good.
All of our credits I do manually each and every week, so sometimes things slip through the crack. If you're in the wrong spot, if your name's not appearing on the credits, let me know. It's just,
yeah, let Vin know. It's fluid. It changes per day.
I have senior moments of like, I'm going to do that. Oh, I didn't do that. Then squirrel. Thing happens. But yeah, thanks for becoming a patron. Come hop in Discord. Come say hi. You can do that if you're a Twitch sub as well. It is fun. It is brilliant. I appreciate everyone that does that. And just say hello. Come join us for Trackmania this Friday. Also, if you want to do that.
Woohoo.
Yeah, you can do what we're doing. We're trying to figure out this fancy, brand new, cutting edge racing game from 2011 because that's how we roll. And it's all for good fun. It is.
Yeah. We have a wonderful community, and all our patrons can come and talk with us. So very, very special. We're very open.
Listen to other patrons scream and frustration.
Yeah.
It is fun. But head over to linuxgamecast.com. That's where you can get the show. And we got a support page. We got Amazon wish list, all the kind of fun stuff. We just do this for fun. So yeah, don't run out and buy a mattress or whatever. I don't know what I'm supposed to plug. Brought to you by Microsoft. I would so go Microsoft ad. We got to do a slice of pie though.
Yeah, we do.
So you're going to be talking about...
What's our...
I was on a HAL 9000 kick. So
there's a HAL 9000 cake. My Steve husband would love this. That's his favorite movie of all time. So...
Has anyone...
So... Ven is Dave today, that's for sure.
I don't necessarily...
Dave, I cannot think anymore.
I'm not going to call it a horrible movie, Steve, but there's a lot of hype to that movie. I think the biggest problem with that movie is like, if it's a cinematic masterpiece, I'm like, it's all right. But don't you dare say it's all right around somebody who's like frothing at the mouth. Like, no, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's cool enough to where I'm like, hey, I know what HAL 9000 is. It's a cake.
Aw. Well, it's the big deal about the movie is, it was 2001, is that it was a movie, and not just cinematically, but story-wise. It was a movie not about the future, but from the future. And that's what differentiated it from other sci-fi movies at the time.
This is exactly why people have a problem with the movie, Jill, because they're like, well, you got to really understand it. And they're like, they go and watching this transformational experience. They're like, yeah, it's a movie. It's an old movie.
Yeah.
All right.
Like Stephen husband says, no one will ever do that much work again to make a film. It was one of the hardest films ever made by Stanley Kubrick, and one of the most challenging and one of the most expensive because he was a perfectionist. Everything had to be accurate.
Oh, no. Quit.
See, my husband's in chat.
I know. Quit driving people away. We want people to watch this, Jill. You're not doing it.
Yeah.
Like, it was over budget, done by a control freak. I'm like, I bet that turned out pretty well, didn't it?
Oh, then there is something more cray-cray than 2001, the movie from the late 60s. And that is that you can make a cluster of your Pi Zeros in the style of a 3D printed Cray 1 supercomputer from the 1970s. This is awesome.
See, I'd watch that.
Yeah. So this is what Kevin McAleer did so he could use a compact and affordable playground to experiment with things like parallel computing, load balancing, and to learn, how clustering works. And he was looking to learn more about deploying software using Docker, Ansible, Flask, and other, modern frameworks out there. And it just, I thought this was an ingenious way to do it, and inexpensive. So all you need is to make your own is a dozen Raspberry Pi 02s, M.2.5 standoffs, and matching screws, and a 3D printer to print out all the parts. And the beauty of the symmetrical design of the Cray one is such that each individual wedge is made up of the same identical set of 3D printed parts. So, so you could just have them, make a part and have several run overnight. Get up an hour later and put it in, program another one, and then program another one.
One of the things I like
I think this is super cool.
This is so much better than actually having like a real Cray, because
you don't have the space or the money. Do you know, I looked up what a Cray today would cost, over $26 million if you bought it today.
So it's like,
because it was $8 million when it came out in 1975.
Oh no, that wouldn't be. That'd be like 3 NVIDIA compute units.
Yes.
Or possibly one 3090 Ti. Who knows?
But I love the Cray. I was fortunate to be able to stand in the center of one at the one of the local computer history museums, and that was a very almost a religious experience. It was awesome because it's one of my favorite computers of all time. And it was the original computer that they used to render The Last Starfighter, which is one of my favorite sci-fi movies of all time.
The only problem I had with like the original Crays, and if you're thinking about the Crays, we're all thinking about the one that was being shown here, with the base. They had one critical flaw that I never found very useful, was the fact that you always, when you were dealing with the actual Cray, you had to accessorize because of the color matching. And
Yes. There were orange ones, there were yellow and blue ones, there were brown ones, there were gray ones. Yeah, all the different colors. Orange. The orange one was pretty.
They're neat.
But
yeah, really.
They're so cool.
In 2022, I think there's probably a market to make furniture, Cray furniture. People would buy that.
Absolutely. I mean, the bottom part they called a seat, and that's where, the power supplies were. And yeah, that just makes sense for an ottoman. You have this big circular structure with the seats around the outside, and then the inside, it could be your little kiosk to watch movies. You could put a little 1970s orange chair in there. And then put your big screen on the wall, and there you go, your own little.
That'd be great. You have that at
private
the house.
Entertainment center.
Especially if you're out and about, you're on the dating scene, you show up at somebody's house, they got like Cray furniture, you know exactly what you're getting. You're like, all right.
Hey, move over 50s modern, you get 70s modern Cray furniture.
Oh, man.
I would like some of that in my life.
Retro nerdcore. Steve, take notes. Now.
Thank you to Darkwing for letting us, making us aware of this project. That was really cool. He posted it. Yeah.
So, speaking of like video cards and just expensive compute units, we've all been dealing with this for the past 2 years now. 2 years. Just can't buy anything. Everything scalpers and just crazy. Trying to get a like 3090 Ti. You're looking at over $1,000, or just like a 2060, $600 on eBay. People are paying that much. Why?
Yeah.
Scalpers. Scalpers, crypto, and they're just buying them by the pallets. They're never getting to you. And, EVGA will tell you like, we're doing the best that we can. NVIDIA, to the same thing. Newegg, of course, like, we're trying everything possible to stop the scalpers. We really care about you. To which everyone looked at the release of the Steam Deck, how Valve went, yeah, we just released a hot new product that everyone wanted and didn't really have to deal with scalping at all. How do we do that? Oh, well, they did this crazy, wild idea. They enabled like two-factor authentication. You had to have a Steam account. But Adafruit, I want to give you credit because they're taking that first step. Two-factor authentication for high-demand products. Due to bots buying out certain high-demand items, Raspberry Pi 4 Module B, we are now requiring verified account two-factor authentication. Done.
Awesome.
Problem solved. But they will say, but Jill, if it was that simple, why doesn't everybody do it? because they don't care long as the check clears. They just want the money. EVGA, Newegg, I'm sorry to pick these two out. Everybody's doing it across the board. Like, I don't care if you whether or not you get a video card or anything like, or Raspberry Pi. Adafruit's like, hey, we understand our customer base. And like, let's make sure that, individual hobbyist project schools, places like this, actually get the hot products that are out. We got our inventory, and we don't want that one person or dozens of people who buy as much as they possibly can and head over to eBay and resell it. Like, what have you done? Oh, I've marked the price up $50, but have you done anything? No, just mark the price up. Thank you very much. Here's one. Something as simple as two-factor authentication, be it via text or because that little wrinkle, that little bit of friction will keep things in stock. And so makes me very happy to see this. And like Valve did something very similar. They're doing this. Why? Because it's simple to do and it works. If you care about your customers, you take these little baby tiny steps and ensure that the product is there for the people who want to buy it. I'm sure somebody's going to have a problem with it though.
Yeah. Oh, we need to 2FA all the things that just, that works. It stops hackers and
well, having a mobile number,
bad things.
That friction that Adafruit. Check this out.
Yeah.
Do like the digital thing, but also allow people to send a self-addressed stamped envelope. I don't know how that'd work, but maybe it would. All right, we're running a bit long, Jill. We got to bounce out of here.
Okay.
Do we have any famous closing last words other than cue the music? Because that's what I'm about to do.
Aww. Well, get out there and Linux all the things. Thank you to all our beautiful patrons and our new executive producer, Pebble. Yay! Thank you so much.
Which I remembered to put in the credits.
Yay! Yay! We got Aldius, Barbrandt, Scott M, Foxdog, Atomic Ass. Went by too quick. I couldn't read it. Chicago. Can't say what that one says at the end.
The entirety of Chicago.
Sea Monsters. Yes.
All of it.
Oh, boy.
Episode
and all our wonderful chairlings.
119.
Oh, my God.
We'll eventually get to a point where I won't be able to count that high. I look forward to it.
Yeah.
See you next week.
Bye, everyone. Love you. I can't believe I've been here since like episode 105. Oh my gosh. It's awesome.
All right.
So yeah, our connection was definitely having issues today. So it was fluctuating a lot, and I did have a couple of brownouts. I saw my UPS do its thing, so that could have been part of what's going on.
Your audio was fine. You've been in Pixel Vision during the show, but...
Okay. Yeah, so I think there's some issue somewhere. That's not on my end, not on your end. It's in between. Yay, Ven.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I looked more grainy than usual.
Oh, yeah, you've been in, like, pixel mode, 8-bit mode.
Well, I had put it in performance. Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, I had to put it in performance because of I wasn't getting return video. There we go.
That'll do it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what happened when it went out. The first time it went out for about a minute. So then I brought down the performance. Darn it. Yeah, but I had to do that so I could see Ven.
I finished God of War, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good game. course, it did the thing that I wasn't terribly pleased with, but every game does this. After you get done beating the primary bits, it's like, hey, go out and finish all the quests. Like, I beat the game. I'm done. But I'm done. Boy. That was a fun game. I started playing one of the games that I got in that latest Humble Bundle, Quantum Break. That's if you want to play a video game and also want to watch a independent movie, an indie film, I guess. Oh, who saw the, speaking of Xbox controllers, they had the fuzzy ones that were released. Furry controllers. That is a horrible idea. Did we not learn anything as a society from shag carpeting? You don't want to be like rolling around and rubbing on fuzzy things or furry things. Yeah, fuzzy controllers are a bad idea. Those things are going to be so nasty. Like, are they machine washable? Can you imagine? Like 2 years from now, somebody hands you the unloved fuzzy controller and it's all matted down and oily. Just spring a leak, Joe?
Yeah, I'm looking there. The people are complaining there's been some fluctuations in our internet in our area, which hasn't happened in a long time. So that's probably what was going on. And we had some brownouts.
Limited edition.
But of course I checked it twice before we even went live.
There's nothing we can do about it.
It was fine. Yeah. But I'm just bummed I didn't look as good, but I couldn't help it.
Oh, man. You want to go back and cut into the audio podcast and be like, by the way, Jill doesn't look all that, like, non-pixely.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
true.
That looks so nasty. Please tell me it's removable. Like, you can... Ew. I just don't know. But hey, they're going to see whether or not Jim Carrey can carry an entire movie a second time. They're going to make a sequel to the Sonic. I saw a trailer for that. I wouldn't want anything like that. Here's the problem with that. Here's the problem with the fuzzy controller. I'll tell you what it is. In a low light situation, if somebody threw that at your feet, you'd try to step on it. You would. You'd try to put it out of its misery. Mm-hmm. Be scared it was going to bite you. I was thinking about buying one of the latest Xbox controllers, but I don't really see the point. I just don't use controllers all that often. I mean, I might.
Yeah. So, yeah. I still mostly use keyboard and gerbil WASD when I can.
I get my PS4 controller for Trackmania, and I get the Xbox controller for anything I can sit back and play. But here's the problem I have with like the Xbox controllers. I have the Xbox One S, XS, whatever it is, which every single one of them ever made, the right shoulder button will eventually die. So, like, real quick, the first one I got, I've been gentle on this one because the first one I got didn't make it all the way through Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just like non-furry electronics. Electricity and fur, bad idea. It's for everyone's safety. Oh, man. I don't know. Now I do the thing to see if the world... Oh, there's a new version of Mixbus out that I'm not going to buy. Sorry, Harrison. I got an email this morning from Harrison. Like, hey, we have this brand new version 8 of Mixbus, and it's got all these features that you'll never use. Give us money. I laughed. That together. All right. Oh, yeah. As Inertia was saying, there is a new Humble Bundle. But I'm just not... iRacing?
Yeah,
What is iRacing?
the one game. Yeah.
Copy link. At least let's look at it. Let's see what else is on it. Oh, no.
Yeah, I need to check too. I want to see what the Ukrainian bundle, how far it's gone up. Last I checked was 12 million, I believe. Humble.
The Ultimate
Bundle
Racing
Ukraine.
Sim Bundle includes Drift, Automobilista 2.
Oh yeah, okay, so it's almost 15 million. Wow. Pretty cool. I had missed the itch.io one, and I was bummed because I wanted to do that one, but I missed it, so I did the Humble Bundle one.
Yeah, racing sim people are right up there with flight sim people. Not quite as hardcore as the battle mech people. I've seen, you know what? I haven't seen any like terribly crazy racing sim setups. I think the most I've ever seen in Meat Space from one person, somebody had pedals and a wheel. I'm like, all right, right on. If that's your thing. I've seen some pretty out there flight sim setups, but I've seen some genuinely insane battle mech stuff, but I don't think that's done anymore. The kids don't play the mech simulators. That's what I was thinking, Arthurian. But yeah, Automobilista 2 just looks like another racing sim, which there's nothing wrong with it. But yeah, like sim racing is kind of like sim anything. Like that's work that you're not getting paid to do. Like city management, like
Yeah. Yeah, I like Trackmania and Distance, where
Yes.
it's not just classic racing. You have unique physics and you go on loop-de-loops and do fun things, and it's more fun to me. But I do, I like playing the Trackmania like Valley too. Going around the dirt roads and through the different forests and whatnot. That is fun, but I still prefer Trackmania like Stadium.
what's arcade racing? I mean, it's fun. That's
Yeah,
why you
it's
like
arcade.
it. Yeah. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
I want to sit down and have fun. You're like, no. You need to sit down and be exposed to hyper realism and keep track of, everything. Like it's spreadsheets with a wheel, which, I mean, racing wheels are cool. They're fun. But, when I was playing like the F series that Feral, those were like sim light, because those just irritated everyone. They're like, it's too arcadey, said the sim people. And it was like, it's too realistic, said the arcade people. No one was happy with those from Codemasters, I think. And, playing that with all the assist stuff, I'm like, this is work. Like, I'm having to keep track of too much. I wasn't having fun, is what but for some people, that's fun. Ooh, gimme. Spreadsheets on wheels, man. Don't give them ideas. Everything's from Microsoft now. Doom from Microsoft. How's that going to hit next time you open up Doom? It's like Microsoft Studios. The Activision deal hasn't gone through yet. I don't know. I can't have a racing wheel in here because unless I want to make a YouTube video. Should I make a YouTube video, Vigil? I can hook up a force feedback steering wheel to my glass desk and see how long it takes to shatter it.
Oh boy. Yeah, wouldn't take long, I don't think.
Probably not. I drive real careful.
That would be interesting.
I don't think I'd
Yeah,
do
because some of those, if the really well built ones, I have a lot of metal in them too, because they're heavy. I mean, I have an old one. Actually, I should hook it up. I'm sure it probably works. It did about 10 years ago when I hooked it up onto Linux. It was an old
Isn't it kinda
Logitech
strange?
one.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, it probably just works too, right? Like these days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. So, yeah, apparently you can get some crazy supercomputer furniture.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness, honey, boo boo, we need this. But you could buy the shells, and they converted them to furniture. I don't know.
I mean, that's your thing. Let's see, do they have any goth craze?
No, seriously, let me see.
Those would be easy enough to like construct one.
A gallery of computers as furniture. MIT.
Like building like a corner. If you wanted to eat the floor space, you could do like a corner couch.
Yeah.
No. Steve. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, for like my hubby, this would be easy to build. He does this kind of stuff in miniature all the time. He can just build a big one. It's just because they're all symmetrical, just like the 3D printed one. You can print out you can build a wedge and then just keep copying the wedges and.
Yeah, construction it'll be good motivation to finally move the piano.
Yes, Ben.
Or not. I mean, listen. If you've grown attached to the piano, wherever it may be, I'm assuming it's still floating around the living room somewhere.
Yeah, it is. But now since the pandemic, it's subsided for a bit here in LA, we can start looking into getting rid of it. That's why all the places that took them as donations had stopped their business because of the pandemic. So, but now probably like Goodwill has the service again. Yeah, we had checked even actually a few months ago to donate it to a couple different organizations that take them and donate the proceeds to kids in need, and they weren't running that service right now because of reasons. So
Yeah,
avoiding being in people's homes.
Scaling miniatures, either way, it's more of an issue when you try to scale up, but yeah, building something that looked like a crate would be pretty easy to do. That's a trip to Home Depot in a weekend. Like upholstering, that's going to be a different story. I'm not.
Yeah, that would be where the time is really spent, because it's just wood panels and that would be awesome.
It's doable. I just don't like cutting foam. Some people do.
Yeah, Restore is one, but the Salvation Army used to take them and donate them to children in need, and then there was one on KFI that did it, and the I think originally, before we bought the house, Steve's mom was going to get rid of the piano, and it was the what was it? The Girl Scouts of America was taking them and donating them to the Girl Scouts, but that doesn't exist anymore either.
Right. So I think that's going to wind us down. Do we get any famous last words? Possibly.
Well,
maybe.
have a good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. And have fun geeking out with Linux.
Put Linux to use. Be
Put
productive.
Linux to use. Oh, it's the Boy Scouts. Okay.
I think that's the
it.
important thing. Play around with Windows. Install Windows, play around with it, take a screenshot, post it on the internet, be like, I installed a Windows. And, like people do with Linux. Where you get the NeoFetch. They need to like I'm sure it exists, like fake, oh, come on, it's got to exist, right? Like a NeoFetch website.
Oh, I'm
Simulator
sure there's... Yeah, I'm sure there's got to be one.
for the people who can't be bothered to stick in a USB drive.
Yeah. I think I've come across one of them. I think it was the other one, Bash Top. There's one for Bash Top. I know that. So I remember using it.
Somebody needs
Frank
to make
says
that.
Hi. That's great, Arthur.
I'm a little disappointed. Google didn't pull. Maybe I'm just not typing in the right thing. Bash Top. You know what? I didn't know there was any type of top utility for DOS or the DOS simulator or whatever the command thing is called in Windows these days. I don't know. I guess you could just open WSL and run. Is HTOP available in WSL? I would assume it is. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. I could have HTOP.
I had a version of HTOP for DOS. I think it was a plugin, I think, for Xtree Gold or Midnight Commander or something like that. It's been too long since I've tried to use it, but I do remember.
HTOP.WSL. I don't understand. Okay. See, this is where I get like some of the disconnect with people who've never played around with Linux. But, I'd posted a HTOP of something to show off, I think, just the cores or how many threads were in a system. And somebody posted back on Twitter, was like, I have no idea what I'm looking at. Now, everyone, you've seen HTOP. Google it real quick if you haven't. I think anybody with, who's slightly above room temperature and has a pulse can suss out what HTOP is displaying, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I still use top too a lot. Sometimes I don't even bother putting HTOP in. I just use top because it's installed in almost every distro.
It is.
I like the pretties of HTOP and Bash Top.
I like the sortability of HTOP function-wise.
Yeah.
Tree views and all the other fun stuff that, it's just easy to drill down to what I'm trying to get at. Yeah, just like the initial, just normal HTOP, when you launch it like that, I can get more information at a glance. Yeah, it's just the right tool for the job. That's the beautiful thing about Linux. You can find what you need. It's not a problem. Like the network stuff, I don't really mess around with at system level. I use my Linux router to get all that information. I SSH with my router, which I had to do the other day. Then I, for no reason whatsoever, I installed, what is it? What is the simple, dumb little firewall thing? I can't think of it.
One of the firewalls we use on Linux.
Uh-huh.
Not
I know what it is now, but I'm letting everyone at home play the home game. There you go.
UFW. Thank you.
Super effective, easy. And I was logged into the Pi. And I'm like, do I have any firewall? Not that this thing's not even exposed to the net. So again, no point in doing this other than like, why not? I'm just gonna put it in. And it's a headless Pi. So of course I didn't bother to check. Was SSH 22 open? Of course it wasn't. So I locked myself out of the Pi. So I had to unplug the Pi and go find a monitor and connect it and fix that.
Yeah.
So that's what the moral of the story, kids: don't secure your hardware. Just leave it wide open. It's easier to get into for everyone. No, that's good. That's like anything web facing. Yeah, UFW is. I mean, it gets the job done. It's just a front end.
Yeah. I used it on my Pi not that long ago. Comes in handy.
I used it when I needed to. I used it on this box because I needed to disallow some traffic from a particular NIC. But I mean, it works. It's great. It's better than dealing with like IP tables back in the day.
Yeah.
And yeah, these days I just do everything through the MikroTik. Just get all my rules and policies, and that's good. Just stop it there. And I'm lazy on the network, which you shouldn't be, but I am. Cool. All right. That's going to do it, everyone. Thanks for hanging out with us. We get a little bit
Yay,
done.
we love you all.
Made a little talk. When does what's the blue thing with the penguin next to the rainbow keyboard in the very back? What's that say?
Oh, that says 33% more Jill. It's my logo on Destination Linux.
33%.
Yeah, because we don't have Noah anymore, so it's just me and Ryan and Michael.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of a joke.
Got it.
We got more Jill. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't make out what it said because it's not in the main shot. I just happened to look back on. I'm like, wait, there's a thing back there. Okay. Right on. All right, everyone. We will see you next week. Hopefully, all the internet things will be sorted out, but the audio is fine.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Okay, good.
You don't hear anything. I don't care if it's a single pixel blinking. I'm like, that's fine. I can hear the audio just fine. Not a problem.
Good.
All right.
It's the most important.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Love you all.
That's some horrible background music. I couldn't listen to that.
Yeah.